enforcing stereotypes on genders?
I think we do more on boys when they're little than we do on girls. I don't have boys, but it seems like that they are not allowed to play with dolls and have dress up and tea parties and things like that because people think it'll make them feminine. But with girls, not so much. I mean, we start off making them prissy with their clothes and everything, but then we encourage them to play sports, to wear pants, shorts, whatever, like the boys do. But when it gets to certain mannerisms, I guess, that boys do, we have to draw the line there.
So do you think, like, gradually as they grow up, for girls, we slowly stop enforcing the stereotype?
Yes. Because by that time, I think they know more of who they are. And hopefully you've trained them well enough they can make their own decisions and make them well. So.
Do you think that, like, with you, would you like, do you like agree that it's more, do you agree that, with this that we do it, but like, I don't know.
Like, I think what you're trying.
Do you agree with the stereotype being enforced?
I think it's, I don't know that I agree or disagree because it's so normal in the way we do things and grow up and it's just natural, I think. Cut!
I think it's what?
Do we enforce it, like, do we encourage it?
What, at the school or in life?
In general. Like, from a certain age, or, like, the way we look at it.
You know, I'm sure there's always exceptions, and I don't like to be.
You can modify it.
But, you know, stereotypes are just, I don't really like them.
You can say that. You're allowed to say whatever you want.
Because, you know, some people are, you know, there are stereotypes that prohibit people from doing things. You know what I mean? I mean, I give you an example. I go to this boot camp 6 days a week. And some of the people I go with who are tremendous athletes are girls who are tremendous athletes that a lot, most, you know, if you watch them, they do things that you know, you just couldn't, you know, that guys can't do. And I often tell my players in soccer, I say, you know, the girl cheerleaders are some of the best athletes in this school. I say, how many guys can pick up a girl and hold her over, or pick up a person your weight? Cheerleaders can pick up a girl their weight and hold them up over their head. And some of the guys will counter me and say, well, they only weigh 120 pounds. I say, well, why don't you try to pick up somebody your weight and put them over your head? And usually they sit there and say, well, that would be hard. I say, exactly. So I think there are a lot of stereotypes. As kids, you know, I go to state math contests, there's a lot of people who say girls don't do as well in math. Not at this school. Some of them, they do very good. You know. So yeah, I think it's a lot of stereotypes that will stop people from doing things.
Do you think it's encouraged at a young age, or, like, do we pick it up as we grow older?
I think society, you know, I think a lot of people hear that's the way it's supposed to be. Follow that trend, you know. I mean, you hear, well, you know, no. I think it could be something that's embedded by some of your elder parents or grandparents. You know, back when I was a kid, girls didn't do this or guys didn't do that. But today, it's changed. You know, I remember the nursing field used to be predominantly women. Now there's guys in nursing. You know, I remember when I used to go to college, most engineers were guys. Now a lot of engineers are girls. You know, times change. It used to be not many women work. You know, now, women work, you hear about every one of them, you know, got a job. So, you know, times have changed, but I think a lot of times, you know, your parents probably said, well, back when I was a kid, you know, this is the way we did things, but it's changed.
Do you think it's more like towards girls than boys, or more girls than boys?
That really sets you up for, that would set me, you know, I don't know. I know a lot of girls probably think that they've been singled out more, as restricted more, but, you know, I'll give you an example, you know, it used to be like, some sports were predominantly boys' sports, and some sports were predominantly girls' sports. And you see that's changed, you know? Some occupations are predominantly run by more female-oriented, and some are more male-oriented. Some will be, just because of the way, you know, way the male body is, the way the girl body is, you know, but it's more of an intermingling. Look at the services. Girls are now going into fields that they never thought they would in the, you know, the military. Look at the teaching profession. Now, there's a situation. You go into a lot of schools, majority of teachers are female. But go down to the elementary school. Look at how many, there are about all female teachers, right? But does that mean a male can't be a good teacher at a elementary school? No. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes, you know, I think it would probably be more at first inclination that it would restrict the females more, but it's also worked both ways, you know. There's been some things that I can say that males are now going into, like, here's one, stay-at-home parents. It used to be the lady would stay at home and the man would go out and support the family. But now there's stay-at-home moms. Stay-at-home dads. You know that? There's men that stay home, watch the kids while the woman goes out and works. So that's been, I don't know if that's the kind of stuff you're looking for, but I think it works both ways.
Do you think that there is gender inequality still present?
Yes.
Have you ever been stereotyped or something?
Yes.
What were the stereotypes?
The dumb blonde jokes, and girls are supposed to be worse at sports and things like that.
Did you ever see a difference when you're doing sports? Like, did they treat you differently?
Sometimes, I mean, not all the time, but you can tell like a few different things.
Like what?
Kind of like guys, they'll give you, like, they'll try and give you a head start and stuff, but you don't really want it, but they try to give it to you.
Do you think that you could do do you think there was a moment where they didn't value you as they saw like a boy, I guess?
Not, I don't really know, cause like they.
Or are you trying to be like old-fashioned, I guess?
Yeah, I think they were trying to be like, just maybe trying to be nicer or something. I don't know, but guys do tend to give girls like head starts, even though they may not want them. But when it comes to a guy, they won't do that and stuff.
Do you think that in today's society, it's like, for men, is it polite or is it like making women seem inferior by like doing that type of
Depends on
thing?
like how they say it and stuff, because if they're like, it just depends on how they say it, and how they act.
So do you think if, like, an example, like, you're saying the Head Start thing, do you think they were saying that you weren't equal to a boy, or do you think they were just trying to be polite, or?
I think they were, I don't know.
Did you value yourself when you're doing that thing as less than a boy, or did you consider yourself still equal when they were treating you that way?
I kind of felt like they were treating me less, I think.
Did you ever feel like they're putting more emphasis and importance on the boys than they did on you?
A little, not like a whole lot, but just,
Did they emphasize the boys, like their accomplishments more than they did the girls?
no, they were pretty equal when it came to like their accomplishments.
Did you ever feel like they're trying to strive more for the boys' accomplishments more than they did for you? Like an example
Yeah.
would be, they would give the boys maybe harder things to do while the girls maybe had a more relaxed kind of thing.
Yes.
Did it bother you?
Yes, because I'd rather them have us at least try it instead of thinking we can't do it.
Did you ever do the same things as the boys did that the other girls didn't? 'Cause-
Yes, that's,
I think that's good. Do you think their gender inequality is still present?
yeah, I do.
With that, do you think there's still stereotypes within like different areas?
Yeah, I think there are simple stereotypes like women are bad at driving or sports or math. And then there are more problematic ones like men can't take care of children or women can't serve in combat or get equal pay.
You count yourself as a feminist, don't you?
Yeah.
So for you, does it mean that women are better than men, or do you feel like they're equal?
They're equal. That's not what feminism means.
What kind of do you see any since you enjoy art? Do you see any type of stereotypes directed within that?
I think when men are good at art, they're seen as like gay or like more feminine, which is problematic because that means that being feminine is automatically a bad thing, which is an issue.
Who do you think that society reinforced this stereotype, or do you think that we just kind of grew up with it?
I think it's really internalized, like we grow up with it and it's all around us.
So who would you blame for that, I guess, that it's instilled?
Probably past generations
Do you
not
think
speaking out against it.
do you think we're growing out of it?
Slowly. Probably, yeah.
Do you think there'll be a point like within our lifetime where women are finally seen as equals?
In our lifetime, it would have to be like a really fast change.
So you think do you think that maybe that genders crap, can you cut that part?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think there was more of a revolution for, I guess, equal in race than there is in gender?
I'd say that the race problem has really surged back recently, and gender has kind of taken like a back seat,
Mm-hmm.
and gay rights has really surged in the last like 20 years. Yeah.
Do you believe that men, when they're being polite to women, do you think it's making her feel like inferior, or they're trying to be polite?
I think that they're trying to be polite, and I think that it comes from like a good place, but it can be like an issue.
In what ways?
If you're showing women as like lesser than or weaker, then it's problematic. But if they're holding the door open or something like that, then it's just being nice.
That's pretty good, I think. That's all I needed. Do we enforce stereotypes in genders? Like, women, for example, dresses, more girly things, I guess, and boys, they're more like, like trucks and sports and...
Are you asking how do I reinforce it, or how
No,
does society
like-
reinforce it?
Do you think we enforce that, like, in children, or how
Oh,
we
do
go?
you think we pass these stereotypes on to
Mhm.
our children? too, I think. Let me think a second, because that means I have to think. Okay, I think I've got it. I'll wander for a minute if that's all right. Tradition is a hard thing to stop, if that makes sense. Traditionally, the female has always had the role of the homemaker, the one who takes care of the children, the one who does the wash, cleans the house. And since the 50s and 60s, where women have taken more of the role on outside of the house in terms of working, the male is not the only breadwinner. They're not the only one bringing home the money. So the female has to go out, which means the male has had to pick up some of those traditional roles that women have always had. But you will still find in some homes, it's the men that cut the grass, the men that take care of the cars, and the females who are still cooking the meals, going to the grocery store, and doing the washing and clothing. But it goes along with a lot of times how you've been raised as to what you do and what you expect of yourself. A lot of times it's just simply a matter of saying to the gentleman or your husband or the person you happen to be with, would you help with this? And sometimes they're willing to help because they may have been raised in a home where the mother has said, you will do the wash, you will do the grocery, you will cook, you will learn to do all of those skills. So things have changed a lot since I was a kid, because when I graduated from high school, the expectations of a female was to get married right out of high school. I went to college, girls started going to college more because I was the beginning of the baby boomers, and we started going to college. But it was pretty much expected the day you graduated from college, you got married right after that. And divorces, you didn't have a whole lot of divorces, but then that has picked up more, and there are more single females who've decided that their work is more important. So we are in a state of change in terms of traditional. And some of the change is good, but some of the change is hard, because as females, we have been raised to think that we have these responsibilities, but yet we're supposed to work outside of the house. Our plate has gotten more full. More and more has been placed on our plate, and some of us handle it better than others. And it's a personal thing.
You have children, right?
I do.
Do you think you have enforced these ideas, or do you think you went against it, kind of?
I think that my girls accused me of being the original woman's liber, which I was not. Do you know what that means? The liberated woman, the woman who didn't do what was expected of her. I'm not. I'm far from it. But I did have a lot of battles that I had to fight. Like you hear about the glass ceiling, which means that women can only go so far, and women get paid less than men, and so forth. These were traditional roles that my age group fought while we were growing up. And I know when I first went into a principal position, or when I was first qualified for a principal position, I asked the question, someone asked me what I want to do. I said, well, I want to be a principal in this middle school. And they go, well, why don't you be at an elementary school? And that's a gender thing. Had I been a male, without hesitation, they would have said what?
You could go right ahead.
Go right ahead, right. So it shows up when you least expect it. Now, that was a lot of years ago, and here I am an assistant principal in a high school. But there are still gender thoughts out there. So I tell my girls all the time, be who you can be. You have the right to be who you are, and I encourage them. I also tell my daughters that you need to get an education and you need to prepare yourself, because what happens if you have children and the relationship you're in doesn't stay together, or for some reason, whether there's a death in the family or there's a split or whatever there is, will you be able to take care of your kids? And that's important to us. I don't know how many men think that.
Probably not a lot.
Probably not a lot. Well, there are some out there, but we hear more of those who don't.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still a lot of things. And if that's a gender thing, yes, I expect you to take care of your children, but I expect you to prepare yourself to take care of them. That's the difference.
Do you think we encourage it more to boys, or do we encourage it more to girls?
I think it depends on where you are and what type of family you grow up in. Do you feel, here in this building, do you see a difference in how the boys are encouraged than the girls?
I feel like it's more like what you're saying. It depends on how they're growing up, like
Exactly.
family.
That's where I am, it's a family basis, how their family responds to things. I don't think it happens educationally. I think we're pretty good. We have the same expectation of you as we have of the boys. But inside of the family unit, that's where most of the traditional mores go. Any other questions?
Mm-mm.